The summer of 2020 has seen more protests more than any other time of recent across the United States.
George Floyd, you are gone but not forgotten.
Since the killing of George Floyd by the police,
Together.
activists have been protesting against racial injustice and police brutality.
George Floyd repeatedly told the officers that he could not breathe after an officer knelt on his neck.
The family of George Floyd held
The protests have not only brought awareness, but they have also brought unity and togetherness between African migrants and African Americans. The two people used to see each other as rivals competing for jobs, which sometimes soured their relationship.
We beat these drums.
Al Peters, a New York-based artist, thinks the problem of the two cousins can be linked to the faulty history taught by the colonial masters.
We beat these drums for all the African sisters and brothers who came before us that made it possible for us. Why is it that the same person that has taught me to hate Africa, he can't stay out of Africa? They in there making money. So because African Americans are some of the most educated Africans on the planet, if we were able to put aside the fear and the ignorance and understand that we have a couple of things in common. Imagine Africa being as powerful as China. How would that resonate throughout the world where Africans are at? Okay? Now, we sit there and we talk about the Chinese man. One of the things that the African American community has is that we have liquor store, church, and the Chinese man. You can't go to no African community and not find a Chinese restaurant somewhere. Mm-hmm. The Chinese follow Africans like lion follow the antelope.
Somebody asked me one time, have I seen a lion?
This narrative is captured in a TV documentary produced 2 years ago.
My dad always has an accent, and people always, treating him as if he's not intelligent when this man speaks 5 languages.
All we knew was that white people had gone to Africa and went into the bush and stole people, kidnapped people, and threw them on a ship and brought them over here. But to find out that we were complicit in it, I tell you, it was heartbreaking.
I don't think we should allow 300 years history still be ruling us now.
There's an idea that some of that baggage of my ancestors may have owned your ancestors doesn't exist.
Machiavelli Mills, an African American, thinks there is a disconnect between African migrants and them because of the narratives presented by the media and Hollywood movies.
The disconnect between African immigrants and Black Americans is extremely disheartening. A friend of mine was voicing her opinion about how she's constantly talked down upon by African immigrants. And so they're always talking down on her or being snark with her in certain type of ways, and she doesn't appreciate it. This is a subject I've been wanting to talk about for a long time. A lot of those negative connotations come from the fact that before Africans, before they migrate to the United States, all they have to base their knowledge of Black Americans off of, all they have is the media, television and movies. When they see movies or TV shows like Love and Hip Hop, Basketball Wives, where girls fighting and disrespecting each other and throwing drinks all in each other's face, and they see movies like Menace to Society in the United States where African Americans reside in. But when they watch movies like Menace to Society and Boys in the Hood, they think that all Black people, all Black Americans are lazy, violent, disrespectful. They want things handed to them. They're entitled and all that type of stuff. That's the notion that they get about Black Americans.
Marcus Garvey said, "Be proud of your African selves. Know who you are as African people. We might have come over here on different ships, but we're all in the same shit right now. And we need to understand that the power of the African, the intellectual power of the African is its ability to invent. You as Africans don't understand this.
Another place that brings both people together is the church. The Lutheran Church on Staten Island in New York is one of them.
Isn't that right? Yes. Oh, wait a minute. This message is the Valley House. Did you hear the preacher today? Yes. Jesus will die on the cross for our sin to turn everything around. Switch, because everything around you is changing. Switch, because everything around you is what? It's changing. We are not in 1980, 1974, 1980. This is 2019. You said switch!
The type of music in this church is another attraction to worshippers with different backgrounds.
Okay, because when we first started, it was intended to bring the African community together to worship God. But later on, we found out that it was being too personal to say African ministry, was limiting it to only Africans. So we decided to change the name to Christ Assembly Lutheran Church to bring in people from all walks of life, to diversify everything. Because it's not only African that are worshiping here, we have all of nationalities that are worshiping here with us. We have all of Americans too that are worshiping here with us. So using that name African ministry, we said no, it wasn't good. So we changed it to Christ Assembly Lutheran Church.
The style of preaching the Word of God also stands out, portraying social issues close to the worshippers.
I've come to realize in life, some of us, because of the system that we have been accustomed to, we have never made a change in our lives, because that's the only thing you know how to do. This is how my father did it. This is how my mother did it. This is how my grandparents did it. So we will not change from it. Listen to me and listen to me well. If you don't change and switch, the things that are happening now, you won't be a part of it.
We have African American, we have African immigrant, we have Caribbeans as well worshiping with us. So we are vastly diverse. I would say it is cordial, because before we came into this community, there were a lot of things that were going on wrong here. But since we came here, the neighbors here have appreciated us a lot. They have seen changes being made, and they have seen that their children are coming to join, especially on a Sunday, or come here. The music, they love the music. Some of them will just pass by, will just come in the church. So, oh, we heard the music and we came in. So the music is bringing us together mostly. And I see that there is peace among us. When we come here, they don't disturb us, they don't bother us, and we don't bother them. Some of them even allow us to park in front of their houses. Especially on a Sunday, they give us spot for the park. They say these are church people. So the relationship between us and them, it is cordial, because it all happened because the church has come in the community and have brought light.
And now the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make His face shine upon you and be gracious unto you.
Speak, drums, speak!
For Alpitas, every black person is an African, and as a result, being African should be in the mindset of every black man and woman.
So wherever you at, I'm talking to you in my master's language. I'm not talking to you in Wolof. I'm not talking to you in Mandinga. I'm not talking to you in Gat. I'm not talking to you in Yoruba. I'm talking to you in English, because this is what happened to this African. But what you don't understand, many of our continent African brothers don't understand. You see, Africa is not necessarily where you was born. Africa is in you. It's a mindset.
To be quiet.
As both the two cousins struggle with the current issues facing the United States, Zadi Zuko, an African filmmaker, believes the history of the black race must be retold correctly.
And I told a friend an African American friend about my project, and her answer struck me. She said, "No, I don't want to be part of it." I said, "Why?" She said, "No, I don't want to say things that I would regret later." I said, "Wow, what's going on?" So she started to elaborate. I said, "So there's really a problem there." So that's why I started to dig, and I found more, and I decided to put everything in a documentary.
The darkest thing about Africa is America's ignorance of it. And even in 2018, that still rings true. So I think one of the things that we want to see coming out of the film, which is absolutely extraordinary, by the way, is in fact to heighten people's awareness, understanding, to get rid of this divide that exists between Africans and African Americans, and quite frankly, Americans just in general.
Yeah.